Okay, for this instructional segment, we're going to take a look at how to use the new comp comparison feature in WIMS, just to take a look at differences between fuel models, data sets, and so forth. This is a new feature added in several years ago as part of the NFDRS 2016 rollout. So I'm going to go to the fast path and type comp, hit go. I have station in there that I know already has an FDRS 16 data in there back for a couple of years. For this one, I'm going to choose back towards the beginning of this past summer. Kind of interesting summer in the Southwest. I'm going to choose a May 20th through this December. I'm just looking really to see the trends and what's different. So you enter in some dates and a station that has an FDRS 2016 data in it. I'll do fetch station info. Okay, so a bunch of different things going on here. Here's the outputs based on the selections which have been made up here. These are the pre-configured ones. I'm going to go here and change these so I get a G on one side off the OR type OBS, and then a Y off the other side off the type N observations. I believe these should be set by default based on what you choose for fuel models, but you might want to check that. And I'm going to use the graphical version. I'm going to actually select only one variable and use the graphical version. So what this allows you to do in WIMS is to take a look at least how the absolute values of these different things compare. This darker line is the old G model that many are familiar with, have been using for a long, long time in the Southwest. And this lighter shaded one is the ERC for the Y model, which is kind of a similar type version. One of the keys here is you're not going to see these be exactly the same numbers. We already know that, but that they trend pretty similarly. And it's really tough to look at this and to know whether this is a good trend or a bad trend, but at least you understand, at least at this station, the ERC for the Y values seem to be lower overall than they were for G, and maybe a little bit more dynamic. They all tailed off in the snow cam, so that's good. But in and of itself, this one tool doesn't give you everything you need to look. You can go up here, by the way, and choose different elements. So you can choose burning index instead of ERC. See a similar thing. Again, for the old G model, tends to run higher, but there's more variability or similar variability. It's just a matter of correlation. You look at other things like the 100-hour fuel moisture. Again, you see some differences there. They track similarly. They're very well correlated, but don't have the same exact value. So that's a real trend with all of the new fuel models and so forth. They track very, very well with what we used to use, just maybe a little bit better. And they're hopefully more dynamic and relate better to fire activity in the long term. There's some other things in here. You can look at both the data and the graphs together. We won't get into the percentile yet, but there's lots of options here for at least evaluating on a day-by-day basis what's going on with this data coming out of WIMS. You can see if lines are crossing, if they're going straight or sideways, whatnot. This is just one of the many ways to evaluate the impacts of changing the NFDRS 2016 system within WIMS.